The bright future of the Seattle Mariners outfield. Let's talk about it. So this is one topic that I feel like does not get enough attention on how stacked the Seattle Mariners outfield is. And honestly, you'll see in some of these numbers that they are truly just carrying this team since July. So if everything does fall into place, we do know the rumors around Randy Arozarena and apparently rumors about them wanting to get rid of him this offseason, but let's hope that's not the case because that would be arguably one of the dumbest moves in Mariners history. But nonetheless, the outfield core that I'm referring to is Victor Robles, Randy Arozarena, Julio Rodriguez, and Luke Raley, who this could be the entire core of the Seattle Mariners outfield for the next 2 years at least. Randy and Victor aren't free agents until the 2027 season, and Luke isn't a free agent until 2028. And as we know, Julio is going to be here for a very long time, so nothing to worry about there. But I have a few ideas, and I think this video is going to kind of get a better understanding how the Mariners really need to focus on the infield this offseason in terms of getting new guys in. And yes, to preface this, Mitch Haniger is definitely going to be a goner in my personal opinion. That is why he is not involved in this at all. I personally think they need to get rid of that contract and maybe just have him part of a trade to get another guy. So I'm sure some of you are thinking that it is definitely tough to have Luke Raley within this mix because obviously you don't want any of these guys to really sit on a day-to-day basis. But I do think Luke Raley can definitely be a first base fill-in, or as well as Randy Arozarena being a DH fill-in. So it is definitely a little bit of a toss-up to see where the Mariners are going to get some infield help this year. Maybe it is first base and someone like Pete Alonso. But either way, I think Luke Raley can still get his time in the outfield as well as at first base. And Randy Arozarena does have a little bit of experience as a DH. He has played there in 69 games where he's hit 9 home runs, 38 RBIs, and a 244 batting average, which isn't anything crazy, but definitely something that he can pull off if he had to for about 30 to 50 games. And something that also plays in Luke Raley's favor is that Randy Arozarena is much better at hitting lefties. So this is definitely something that could factor in as Luke plays against the righties and Randy DHs against the righties, as well as Randy just plays the outfield when it's lefties and Luke sits. I'm not a huge fan. I think Luke Raley can figure it out, but I think until he does, that's definitely going to be the case. Randy Arozarena is much better against left-handed pitching. He has a 284 career average with 35 home runs, 84 RBIs, and a 900 OPS. Versus with right-handed pitchers, he has a 243 career average and a 741 OPS. Obviously, the right-handed pitchers does come at a much bigger sample size, but he still does very, very well against left-handed pitching. But let's get into the real juicy numbers to show really just how bright the future of this outfield is and how much they've really just carried this team since July 16th. So instead of going through all of the numbers in terms of, going through every individual player's batting average and home runs and all that stuff, I'm going to give you their rankings in terms of where they rank on the Mariners during that time span. So in terms of batting average, Victor Robles is first on the Mariners during that span, Randy is fifth, Julio is second, and Luke Raley is fourth. In terms of WAR, Victor Robles is first, Randy is fifth, Julio is third, and Luke Raley is fourth. And in terms of a strictly offensive stat in WRC+, Victor is second, Randy is third, Julio is fourth, and Luke Raley is first. So each of these 4 guys is in the top 5 for these 3 main categories that I personally think are huge categories to tell how well a player is doing offensively as well as just overall game in terms of WAR. But that is definitely something that I believe is overlooked, is how well these guys have been doing since July 16th. And like I said, all 4 of them are ranking top 5 in these categories on the entire team. So this outfield is really just carrying the Mariners in terms of the past few months. But this plays a huge role into the Mariners' future because having this outfield, not having to worry about it and how they're going to perform. And in my opinion, I think Randy, Julio, these guys have had a down year. Victor Robles has had a great year and I think one of the best of his entire career. So hopefully he can keep that going. But Randy and Julio have had really down years. And if they could just come into next year and really start off hot from the jump and just put together a full season, this outfield is going to be very, very scary. And as we know, Luke Raley has had pretty much a career year. It is only his second full season, but he has passed his home run total, and he's just having a good year overall. So that is definitely something that hopefully he can continue to improve on as well. But that's why trading someone like Randy Arozarena doesn't make any sense, because if you're a front office, your entire outfield is set. You don't need to worry about it. You can get rid of Mitch. You can throw him in a trade, do something, get rid of that big contract. And I love Mitch, but he's just unfortunately not making it happen this year. But either way, it gives you something that you don't have to focus on, and that just gives you something to focus strictly on the infield. Make Mitch Yarver your backup catcher. Do what it is with it. I know he's struggling, and hopefully he can bounce back next year, because as we know, the routine that he's been on is he bounces back every other year. But nonetheless, it makes your focus strictly the infield. And I will talk about a few guys in a later video that I think the Mariners could go after to really make this infield pop more. But I think this is huge for the Mariners front office and definitely gives them something that they don't have to worry about, hopefully, if they approach it the right way, that they can just solely focus on, getting a new third baseman that has power, getting a new first baseman, and have Luke Raley kind of switch in from outfield to first base. Whatever the case may be, it takes a lot of pressure off not having to worry about a single outfielder. And that's why it is so big that they signed Victor Robles when they did, because now that guarantees him here for another 2 years at least, which is huge and something that you don't have to worry about going into the offseason, adding that on top of a list of, do we keep Victor? Do we try to go out and get another corner outfielder, which I know the free agent market is not too hot for corner outfielders right now. But I do think that this was just huge that they got this out of the way and guaranteed that Victor is here for another 2 years. But if you kind of look at the numbers in terms of guys underperforming with WRC Plus since July 16th, it is a lot of infielders, JP Crawford, Josh Rojas, all an 81 WRC Plus and a 76 WRC Plus. So the infield has definitely been a massive problem this season, and I think that is a huge reason why the Mariners have not been as successful as they wanted to be. Jorge Polanco and Dylan Moore are just slightly above the average WRC plus for the league, so I can't really complain too much there. They're just basically being league average bats. But nonetheless, I think having this outfield that has just really just been carrying the team, and honestly hasn't even been getting enough credit, in my personal opinion, to what they've been doing this season and how much they really have been carrying this team, is just kind of being overlooked, but I do think that it is awesome to see. But even if you look at runs batted in, you're talking about 4 of them being in the top 6. Jorge Polanco and Colorado are the only other 2 that mix into that mix in terms of RBI since July 16th. But just all-around players, they have been doing great offensively, great defensively. So this is just a really awesome Mariners core to have going forward. And like I said, if they do end up getting rid of Randy Arozarena, there's going to be a lot of words and a lot of angry Mariner fans, because that would just simply make 0 sense. You go out and finally get a guy who's been having a down year nonetheless, but I do think him going out there and coming back next year and having a bounce back year and him getting back up to that 260 average mark, getting back up to that 25 to 30 home run mark would be huge, and I would absolutely give him a chance and opportunity to do so and really play a full season in Seattle before you can judge, maybe getting rid of him at the end of 2025. But I mean, just giving him that shot, if they get rid of him, I honestly will have no words for it. But I figured I'd come on here and give the outfield core a little bit of credit and really just show you guys how well they have been doing. But otherwise, I hope you guys did enjoy the video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.